So I'm reviewing Brainwash. It's a pretty good book. It's a sort of book by MDs, health, nutrition. But
There's
this
a
guy
lot of them out
actually
there.
knows
Some are
what
much
he's
better than
talking
others,
about.
right?
Yeah. I mean, anyway, it's I don't really want to recommend buying any
No.
of these sort of books ever. And so if you're going to borrow them from the public library, well, this one was just published in 2020 and it has holds on it. I have to return it before the library opens today. So I don't know. I mean, that's up to you whether you want to risk borrowing books from the library right now, but I definitely wouldn't recommend buying this sort of book. So if you're going to read it, public library, and that's where I got it from. But I waited almost 3 full weeks before I picked it up to read it. And it didn't take long. It only
you picked
takes
it up
a
from
few
the
hours.
library, but you brought it home.
Yes, I brought it home and then,
Let it,
just sit there.
the COVID.
Yeah, well,
might
I
have
did.
been on it,
I disinfected the outside
Yeah.
because it's plasticized.
Yeah, sure.
Before I brought it in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd recommend right now setting up, if you are lucky enough, like me, to have a porch, set up your porch as a clean temporary zone, like a little isolation area. So you bring things into there, and if you have your coolers all cleaned out and stuff, you can put your food in there too. And then before you even bring it in the house, so you have this like transition period where it doesn't come into your living space. Because for me anyway, I wouldn't even buy bleach and store it at home. For years, all I would do, I disinfect with 10% bleach when I do my planting, my plant pots and stuff like that for my seedling. And I'd only buy the bleach just as much as I needed just for that project. And when I did the bleach, I'd do the door handles, the light switches, the everything that we touch, and do a whites laundry thing. And then that would be over with. So I'd do that twice a year. First, before I'd only do that once a year, and then I ended up doing it twice a year. But once in the spring, once in the fall. And then my spring became earlier and my fall became, so it just, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, the spring's here earlier than probably what you were used to even in Calgary, much less Grand Prairie. Right?
Yeah, but what happened is I would transplant my seedlings, so I do it then, right? So
that makes sense because you just don't. There's so many bugs that can get into.
Yeah,
That's what
I got into tomato planting, I guess, and that's what did it. So anyway,
I was shocked when was it tomato plants that got wiped out by that white fly or whatever?
Oh yeah,
that was just it was over. Yeah, and it didn't look bad at first.
They barely grew. They just
Pauline said, "Well, it's just going to go wild," and it did.
Yeah. So you can stick up sticky traps with. You can use corn syrup if you happen to have it around. It doesn't matter if it's expired. It could be expired 20 years ago. Just keep it around as a aphid, whitefly sort of trap.
Doesn't have to be tasty. It's just got to be sticky.
It just has to be sticky, and it has to be, something that'll tempt them. They're like, is that sweet?
Somewhat tasty.
Or whatever, right? And so if you hang that just over your plants, even if you just go through your plants, they'll go up onto the. Anyway, that's another thing I wasn't going to talk about. So, but yeah, I don't recommend if you're doing a detox. I don't recommend that you actually throw out things like corn syrup. They're useful. Wi-Fi trap. Whatever. Oh, you spread it on some yellow plastic. If you use like an old laundry detergent container, that works out. And you can make it ridges by just cutting some little ridges in there to hold it onto the stuff, the corn syrup better. Whatever. Anyway, you'll figure it out. Because I wasn't going to talk about that at all.
Sorry about that.
Nope, don't care. But my point was I don't like having bleach around, and I don't like cleaning out my house with harsh chemicals. The harshest chemicals that I want to use inside my house for cleaning, besides that twice a year bleach thing, which then gets rinsed off and is done with the windows open, and I don't even like doing it, but I realize that I'm living in a city and things will get tracked in every once in a while, and while I have the bleach anyway. So, like I cleaned my house with lemon pulp that I boiled up with some rosemary and some lavender because it smelled good.
It smells nice.
And some Himalayan pink sea salt, or pink salt, not sea salt. It's not sea salt.
The Himalayas, I did one time.
Some garlic peels. That's all I use. So I save all the garlic peels from garlic, and that has the medicinal sort of properties of garlic too. So, and the scents of those other things, you don't smell it. Anyway, so clean the house with that. I cleaned me with that. It's totally safe for me and for my home. And so I don't have to worry about, like, rosemary. Dogs can eat rosemary. I don't have to worry about the dogs licking the floor. That's fine. They can do that. They can eat right off the floor. The floor's clean. But if I use harsh chemicals, well, then that's not safe, right? Why would I want that in my house? So anyway, I have some vinegar around for cleaning and baking soda. That's about it. That's all I need. So, talking about brainwash now. Page 16, suicide rates increased in the United States, every state, between 1999 and 2016. Teen rate increased 56% between 2007-2016. Antidepressant prescriptions have increased by over 400% since the 1990s. Page 18, overaction of the amygdala, emotional center of the brain, and constant stimulation of reward circuits keep our actions driven by impulsivity, fear, and a need for instant gratification. Page 26, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is a protein that protects brain connections. Alzheimer's patients have low levels of BDNF. 42, when you sleep, the inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA, that's GABA, blocks the activity of neurotransmitters that are active during wakefulness. Page 45. Inflammation antagonizes the actions of serotonin and threatens our ability to use the prefrontal cortex. Page 49. Crime rates in the U.S. fell from 1990s to the 2000s. Page 77, 2016 Chinese study, 176 college students in study. Narcissism was related to decreased cortical thickness and decreased volume in the prefrontal cortex. Narcissism is a symptom of disconnection syndrome. Chronic stress and cortisol separates prefrontal cortex from the amygdala. Page 79, 2017 study. Performing kind acts for others changes gene expression in a brain region involved in immune cell expression. Generosity may boost the immune system. Generosity stimulates the reward center of the brain. Page 80, Japanese study of IL-6, interleukin-6 levels. That's an inflammation marker. High levels of inflammation correlated with being less concerned about other people's problems, tolerating economic inequality in particular was this study. Anyway, page 96, fragrance compounds are able to cross the blood-brain barrier and interact with receptors in the central nervous system. Forest bathing boosts immune system function with an increase in activity and count of natural killer cells. Page 99, vitamin D is required for the brain to synthesize serotonin. Page 101, nature increases empathy. Page 108, 2019 Harvard study, people who drink 2+ servings of sugar-sweetened drinks a day have a 31% higher risk of dying early from cardiovascular disease than those who indulge less frequently, particularly in women, they found that. 177, gut bacteria make neurotransmitters and vitamins we couldn't otherwise produce, promote normal gastrointestinal function, provide protection from infection, regulate metabolism and absorption of food, and help control blood sugar balance. Page 120, the right types of bacteria in the gut suppress inflammation linked to depression, and decrease prefrontal cortex control. Page 121, gut bacteria help us produce serotonin. 90% of the body's serotonin can be found in the lining of stomach and intestines. 9% of serotonin is in blood platelets for clotting. Only 1% of serotonin is in the brain. Page 121, serotonin, 1A receptor linked to anxiety and depression. It's made from tryptophan in sesame seeds, sunflower, flax, pistachio, cashew, oats, lentils, spinach, tuna, and eggs.
So those are things that are good to take for serotonin.
Page 122. When inflammatory chemicals are high in the body, the pathway that turns tryptophan into serotonin steers the body to produce other chemicals instead. With stress and increased cortisol, tryptophan makes kynurenine. I don't know how to pronounce that. You can look it up on page 122, which causes depression. Page 125, inflammation shrinks the brain. Page 131, 2017 American Heart Association study, patients with history of heart disease, those with less than 6 hours sleep have 29% increase in serious cardiac event. Pre-diabetics with less than 6 hours sleep had 44% increase in getting diabetes, and with less than 5 hours sleep, it increased to 68%.
Just get 8 hours sleep, for Pete's sake. Now, some people can't help it, but there's some people that just up playing,
Try the nice bath with some lavender in it. Yeah. That'll help.
Now, if you're experiencing some sort of pain or you're under huge stress, there's not much you can do. But there's all sorts of people that boast, like, I only get 5 hours sleep a night. I don't tell that to them, but I feel
it's not going to help you think any better, so what are you bragging about? Page 134, sleep deprivation decreases immune system. Immune system cells decrease and inflammation molecules increase. Beta amyloid associated with Alzheimer's increases with sleep deprivation. It's linked to depression. The prefrontal cortex is targeted first by beta amyloid buildup. Study of 1,400 women, page 152. The risk of developing dementia was 88% reduced in those with high fitness levels compared to medium fitness levels. It was 41% higher in those with low fitness levels compared to medium levels. Page 153. Regular exercises decreases depression. Harvard 2019 study. Too little physical activity causes depression. Jogging 15 minutes a day or walking or gardening a little longer
recommended do twice
depression.
as much walking.
I was going to say, jogging. Gardening, there are some things that, like for me, being out in the garden, a lot of the time it doesn't seem like work. It's just, I enjoy being out there. But for a lot of people, that seems like work. So, but going for a walk, if you go for a little hike, you're getting some sun and you're walking around with a loved one, chatting. It doesn't seem like work at all.
Yeah, so just try to stay off mountain bike paths because that's not good for your health.
No, that will be stressful when you're jumping out of the way trying to save your life.
And it might kill you, so.
155, fitness, it gives you lower inflammations, stress, cortisol, better blood sugar control, insulin balance, weight control, better sleep, mood, and memory. It increases serotonin and gives greater activity in the prefrontal cortex, enhanced empathetic behavior, less disconnection syndrome. Page 160, Harvard Medical School, 2005. Meditation is associated with increased thickness of the brain's cortex. Thick-brained people tend to be smarter and have stronger memories than those with thin brains. Meditators tend not to suffer from the age-related brain loss seen in non-meditators. 11 hours of mindfulness practiced over a 1-month period was sufficient to create measurable changes on brain scans.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad. That's only like a third of an hour a day.
Well, he doesn't even. He doesn't recommend that much.
Yeah, I don't. I would be very suspicious if someone who's
have a nice bath. That's relaxing. You can lay there and okay. Page 161. Meditation increases the brain's BDNF. Those who meditate a lot, over 10,000 hours over their lives, have significantly less activation of the default mode network, the region of the brain that's thought to be responsible for mind wandering. Staying focused and present helps us reprogram our brains for well-being, empathy, and gratitude. It shields against brain hijackers, strengthens our ability to resist them.
Focusing on the present is good, but you've got to do some planning too. You can't do the grasshopper thing all the time. You got to be a bit like an ant and plan ahead. But what you want to do is not be in the future all the time, or in the past. Living in the past is a real trap.
Yes, but it's good to learn from one's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So,
you have to
the
have a
important
balance
thing
of
is
these
to
things. You
learn.
have to know
exactly.
how to think. How to think
Yeah.
and not get down about it. So, our conscious actions are largely regulated by the prefrontal cortex, which analyzes and acts on information from the limbic system. Page 164. When you perceive stress, the sympathetic nervous system pumps up cortisol and adrenaline. The parasympathetic nervous system helps trigger a relaxation response. Deep breathing is one of the quickest means of inducing a parasympathetic response. Page 165, 2013 paper by Dr. Benson, founder of the Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine at Massachusetts General Hospital. Relaxation response is linked to a lower expression of the genes involved in inflammation as well as stress-related pathways. More relaxation equals more benefit. Mindfulness-based meditation practice decreases depressive symptoms in patients with chronic pain. And what did I write there? To have lasting anti-anxiety effects? After only 8 weeks of group practice, so it reduces anxiety. Anyway, page 167, 2015 paper, growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus memory center under conditions of silence. Mice placed in silent conditions for 2 hours a day had increased growth of brain cells in their hippocampi.
So try to get out of the countryside, or if you're in the city, like try and put some earplugs in and
my
and
sleeping
or
pattern
earmuffs.
has been weird, so we've been going walking at night for the past few days, and we haven't run into problems. But
Well, you did fall down the stairs. It's okay to mention.
yeah, I did fall down the stairs. So
But,
I guess I'm a
the-
little bit tired because of my sleep.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a lot of cleaning done. I want to get the house cleaned up before.
And that's
I'm
really what
worried
made the
about what's happening with
stairs
the kids going back to school.
a trap for you, because you just cleaned them up.
I had they were wet, and I was careful going down the stairs, but then James asked me something, so I was answering him, and apparently I can't walk downstairs on wet stairs and talk
these are
at the
kind
same
of tough
time.
stairs.
So I was trying to tell him
yeah.
not to go down the stairs because I just mopped them and they were slippery, and so I proved that they were slippery by falling. So that was really.
I wouldn't have asked the question if I'd known the stairs were wet, because I know that they're hard to negotiate.
171. Apply the test of time to all digital activity. So time restricted. That's the first thing. Set a timer so you only spend that amount of time on the internet or whatever your digital.
So you try to treat yourself a little bit like a kid.
Yes.
One of the points I've been making about eating is, the sad thing is people, to a large extent, never grow up. And when it comes to food, all of a sudden they can't control themselves.
Yes, imagine that you have your parent imagine that you had a parent who would say, you're only allowed to be on the computer for 15 minutes, and then you got to get your homework done,
That's
or
right.
you got to eat your broccoli, or whatever.
Or no big gulp for you today because you had 3 yesterday, or whatever.
2, intentional. Much of our interaction with technology is designed to benefit others, so remember to be conscious of whether or not you benefit from its use. 3, mindful. Be aware of how you're using the technologies when you're using them. Be aware of how you feel while using the technology. Does the website leave you feeling angry, informed, relaxed, whatever, right? 4, oh boy, enriching. That doesn't look, it looks kind of like urchins.
Well, there we go. That's pretty exciting.
Does the experience add to your knowledge? Or whatever. Does it make you a better person? So take 3 to 5 minutes a day to practice empathy. Take 30 minutes a week for nature exposure. Eat healthy food and stop eating junk, and you can get into that more in there.
30 minutes a week is really low.
Low,
I know. Helps you out.
Like I was thinking, we go hiking, when we go hiking,
4 minutes a day.
How about, 6 hours out there? That's a good amount of time.
It might not be too much of an exaggeration to say for a while there in the summertime we were doing an average of close to 2 hours a day, and that was weekends, weekdays.
Yeah, and that's you're right.
Mm-hmm. And it was close to 2 hours a day.
and that was every day when we were going to the coulees. And you see, the thing is, we've been hiking just around town in places where there's not very many people, and it's
Well, we've been
beautiful.
trying to do that,
We've been
but you know, I don't mind too many people, even in COVID times. But cyclists, especially mountain bikers, a plague on them. Well, we've got a little soundtrack. I think that's good.
Yeah, but anyway, so we haven't been going to the mountains yet, but we're gonna try going to a few other places, see if now that the kids are in school and people are back to their routines, why they are. But we're gonna see if we can get out in some other places safely. But if not, then whatever. Page 178. Be cautious about sugar alcohols, sorbitol, mannitol, xylitol, maltitol, erythritol, and isomalt. We don't yet know what they do
That's
to your
actually a nice
microbiome
person going by.
and
Sorry, I
brain.
thought you
Sugar alcohols are associated with diarrhea and bloating. So, I mean, honestly, if that's happening with your digestive system, yeah, I think she probably should be cautious about what is that doing to my microbiome. I'd never even really thought about it until now, and I'm glad he pointed it out. Page 179, cooking is far more effective than soaking to reduce phytic acid and lectins in legumes. Page 180, can eat a small amount of gluten-free grains on his diet. Amaranth, buckwheat, rice, brown, white, wild, millet, sorghum, teff, oats, and quinoa. Page 183, turmeric increases BDNF. I didn't know that. MCT, coconut oil, decreases inflammation. And then he has some great recipes in here. There's one for ricotta cheese on page 198. There's page 210, Madras pea soup. Looks
Madras?
like,
You mean
oh,
like-
sorry, yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce
I don't know either.
Now it's Chennai.
But the recipe looks yum. I totally am going to try that one. Page 212, garlic soup. I'm not going to do the egg yolk thing. I'll do something else, but I'll try this recipe, just not with the egg yolks. Page 215 to 16, chicory salad and with a tahini dressing, and that looks so yum. So not only does he provide a lot of good information, and you can look into that, but the recipes look good.
That's kind of a surprise, because guys usually aren't good at that, but you know, coming up with recipes. But we've run across all sorts of.
One of the other people who came up with the recipes, like this Christian Loberg, Kristen.
Of course, there are some guys who are,
son.
you know, presumably good at food, but they tend to be a specialist, you know, like Michael Smith or something
Well,
like
these
that.
recipes
They
wouldn't be
don't
hard.
necessarily know about,
It is so
nutrition.
easy to just make a pot of soup. Just get a slow cooker. You can go to any thrift store, which right now I wouldn't recommend going shopping at a thrift store. Or
Any store, really.
yeah, but
Have we got
so
some
if you
time
don't have
left?
it already, go ahead.
I do want to talk about stores. Okay, I was hearing about on CBC today. There was a couple of breakouts, small ones, in malls in Toronto. So I guess they've opened up there and stuff like that. So they had a health professional. Is your spider sense going already? Health professional. The name is, I caught it, Banerjee. Okay, Banerjee. She was saying, you know, like, don't let that affect your attitude towards the malls. You can go out there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Absolutely, shamefully, irresponsible. Here's the thing. It is a crime to yell fire in a theater. You know what? It should be, if it isn't, to yell all clear when a bomb raid isn't over.
Yeah, it should be. It's ridiculous. I think
You
know
can't go saying stuff like that, especially when you're a health professional. If
Well,
you're just a regular person, you
there's a lot
shouldn't
of people out there that
saying
are trying to
things like
thin down the herd, and they don't care. From their perspective, anybody who doesn't have a lot of money and didn't have the benefits so that they could take more of their time to actually learn. Like for me, it's easy to whip through a book like this, but there are some people that I've spoken with that they say it's very hard for me to read or whatever. And so how do they access the information when whatever, if maybe they've had the benefit of a public education, but they somehow it let them down, or whatever happened, they can't access that information. And why should they be discarded? Does that seem fair? But it seems like there are a lot of people out there that want to thin them out of the herd, and it's really disturbing for me right now to be listening to the CBC, listening to a lot of these health professionals, listening to a lot of
There are a lot of skunks out there.
a lot of yellow personality types that are encouraging people to go out and protest this, that, and the other thing.
So
If you
somewhere
wanna
they're having
protest, do
a
it
gay
from home.
pride fest.
Show your support through online devices or something.
So,
You can
some-
time yourself on how
somewhere
much time you're spending.
They were
Whatever.
saying on CBC, I think it's Calgary perhaps, they're going ahead with their annual gay pride fest. Do you hate each other? Why would you want to kill other gays? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And you can imagine the how that will play amongst certain people who hate gays. They'll be going, wow, look at that. Look at how irresponsible they're being. They're spreading AIDS around and stuff like that. Now, understand, I'm not saying it, but people will be saying it. Why would
Well, they won't be saying AIDS this time. That's what they said 20 years ago.
but they'll
or
be
whatever.
saying
But now they'll
they
be saying
gave us
about
AIDS.
COVID.
Now
Yeah.
they're
I see
spreading
what you're
COVID.
saying. Yeah.
And it's just a potential
Well, it's like a powder keg.
disaster.
They're
like
setting
a,
it up like that.
why
It's
would you
not-
why would you do that?
I don't
Why
know.
would any community try and well, not try, they're not thinking about the possible implications. There are people sitting on the fence. You don't care about
And
the people
honestly,
terribly
as
are on
much
the other
as
side of the fence. For Pete's
The
sake.
gay pride parades might be as entertaining as Disney floats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Still, James and I have talked about it before, and they need to have a rainbow of different types of gay people represented on the float. So you
They
have
might.
like people
I don't know. Maybe
who are
they're just
dressed
showing
up like
Yeah.
Will from Will and Grace, or
yeah, someone
you know,
dressed in a tuxedo
people
instead
that
of
look like
dressed down
everybody,
in a
like
thong or
every
something
sort,
like that.
because there are all sorts of different. They're not all glitter boys shaking it in your face or whatever. Like, come on. Gay people are like everyone else. There's all sorts of different gay people, and that's not being represented in the parades. It's kind of like it's a mischaracterization of people.
Yeah. So I
And
think sometimes when people dress down that way, they're saying, I should be allowed to dress this way.
Well,
and
that's
yes,
true.
that's
Yes.
true. But think of how it plays, like, I don't know. I think they should be trying to reach out to everyone, as many people as possible. All it does is reinforce stereotypes.
But right now, do it online. Do it in a safe way. Don't
For
go
Pete's
out
sake,
and protest.
like,
Don't go out and parade. It's a pandemic. You don't want to kill other people unless you do, and then everybody else should be paying attention to which people are trying to kill other people.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like by health professionals telling people, oh yeah, go to the mall in a
Go to the
pandemic.
malls, for Pete's sake.
Like
Here's
it's
the
like
thing.
they're trying to milk the last little dollars out of all the herd members that they're trying to cull before they're dead, right? You
It's
gotta try to
stunning.
squeeze all the money out of them.
The message should be, you